here on the Russell 40, as we call this property that includes the Prairie, and we've got our local DNR wildlife biologist here with us today as they're going to torch the place.
That's right. My name's Todd Gosselink, so I manage Hooper next door here, and so we're actually going to do a prairie burn today. We're going to burn the prairie and then also burn in the timber. And the reason we burn prairie, for prairie is, one, we want to keep a prairie. If we don't burn it, it's going to turn into trees eventually. So you get fire out here, it keeps the trees out. And specifically on this site, we have an invasive species called Sericea lespedeza, otherwise common name Chinese bush clover. And it's something from Asia, like a lot of invasives, it takes over. If we don't do anything, it'll be a solid field. And we've had issues on the public area next door, basically taking over. But we had some great success where we burn it and then we actually treat it with an herbicide and knocks it back and does great. So that's the goal here, burn this off and then treat it where it is at, get it under control before we lose the prairie towards it. And then we'll burn the timber, and the timber helps control another invasive, honeysuckle. It also burns through trees like hackberry, knocks them back, and the oaks survive because they're basically made for fire, and some of these other species like elms and hackberries aren't. They have thinner bark, and so it's just sort of nature's way of keeping it a prairie or a quality woodland. And so we're going to use that today with fire and sort of mimic what used to happen in here historically.
And what are you thinking about the conditions that we've got today? What do you guys look at before you burn as to whether it's a good day or not?
Right, conditions, of course, the big one's wind. We can't burn if it's too windy. We want the smoke to go up and lift. So there's various atmospheric things we look at for that if conditions are good. When it's nice and sunny, those are usually good conditions. The smoke will lift. If it's cloudy, low pressure, the smoke doesn't rise very well. We don't want to smoke out the neighbors, so direction of wind. And also humidity is a big thing. If it's, 70 to 80%, it really won't burn. We really like to get it at 50 and below. Today it's supposed to get down into 30 later this afternoon, so it's a dry air. It'll burn much better. And a lot of the prairie grass, it'll burn under not as good conditions, but the timber, you really need drier conditions for the fire to carry through those areas. I mean, it's a great opportunity to sort of coordinate our burning effort on adjacent private land into timber, because then we don't have to we want to burn the timber, but we don't want to burn the prairie. You burn it all at once. Sort of like nature would have started a fire and it just would carry in the woods and then sort of fizzle out. We've got Hooper Lake here, so it can't go anywhere. It's a great safe burn. And so we can get them both done and basically benefit the prairie and the woodland out here today.
Yeah, and you guys did a little cutting, some cleanup work. It felt like, I don't know.
Yeah, so right in the timber here, what we did, we called was TSI, and what that is timber stand improvement. We go out there and we're trying to manage for oak and hickory. We want those species to flourish. So we go in there and we cut out invasive species like black locust, maybe honey locust, elms. And you cut those trees out, and the oaks all of a sudden have the space to grow, and they can flourish. And so historically, fire would have kept a lot of those species out, but we've taken fire out of the landscape, and so you don't have that natural TSI, so to speak. And once the trees get big, you can't kill a big elm tree with fire. Its bark's too thick. You got to get them when they're smaller with fire, like we're doing now. So the idea is we treat this, and then you just keep fire through it maybe every 3 to 5 years, and knocks those species back. But the oaks do fine because they're built for fire, thicker bark. So.
And historically, we talk about some areas of Iowa was historically open prairie, tall grasses, buffalo, The elk were here, that kind of thing. What about where we're at now? What did this look like historically?
So we do have some maps. It's called GLO maps. It's Government Land Office back in 1850 that took, basically went out and recorded what was out here. So we have some of those. Was this prairie? Was it timber? In Warren County, it was a big mix. If you think of all the ravines and gullies were probably timber, more of the hilltops like this were more prairie, and fire would go through and it would burn through a prairie and then sort of go in the timber and then probably fizzle out, it goes in a ravine. So yeah, the general area was a big mix. Even like Lake Aquabi, it's all timber now. Historically, that would have been some prairie mixed with timber, sort of the interface of both type of things. So that's sort of a situation we have here, prairie, and then it gets in timber as you go down.
Nice. Well, thank you. I don't
You
want
bet.
to keep you talking too long.
No, that's fine.
I appreciate